Okay, good luck to all. We've basically finished the sugya of tzedakah, so I thought it would be very apropos to go over some of the halachos, particularly the milas of tzedakah, as I told you, the different milas. Or if you want, you go to the blog, it's there as well. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to give it here, Perik Yud Hilchas Matnas Aniyim, and we have it on the screen right now. And here's Rabbi Avi on cue. Okay, Kol Anoisin Tzedakah La'ani B'Sei. This is Perik Yud Halacha Dalet. Kol Anoisin Tzedakah La'ani B'Sei V'Panim Ra'os. If you give your money to an ani and your face is downtrodden, Upanav Kavushis Bekarka, Afilu Nasla Yelef Sehuvim. Even if you give him a huge sum of money, 1,000 Sehuvim, Avin Sechusay V'Efseda, you lost the Schus at Tzedakah. El Anoisin La B'Sei V'Panim Yafais, give it with a smiling countenance. Ubesimcha, umisoinen imay al tzarasai, and going with him, on his state, and sharing his sorrow, the sorry state. Shnemar loy b'chisi l'kasha yom agma nafshi le'evyoim. Umedabaloi divrei tanchunim, speak to him words of supplication, and chunim comforting words. Shnemar v'leiv almona arnin. Shala ani mimcha ve'im b'yofu klum. If an ani goes ahead and asks from you, and you don't have anything in your hands, you should go ahead and appease him with words. It's appease him with words. And we saw the other day, we saw the Chafetz Chaim that said not lav dafka this, but anyone who's going through any tzara, you should appease with words. The asla ligar ba'ani, it's also to yell at an ani, like be a koilei love b'tzaka, mifnei shaliba nishba. It's a bracha and a mensch v'nitka. Who oimer leiv nishba v'nitcha elakim lois vazeh. Oimer lachayos ruach shvolim lachayos leiv dachim. You should go ahead and again Hashem uplift these people. Oilimish shehichlem es ani oilai. Woe is to the person who embarrasses an ani. Eliyah like kayev bein kaav. Eliyah like kaav bein berachmim bein b'dvarim shnemar av anochi lev yonim. So we should emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, anyway, but let's go. There's 8 miles at tzedakah. Zul mile mizu. Mile gedoyla. We don't go through all 8. We'll go through a few of them. Mile gedoyla. She'ein l'mile mimenu. What's the highest level of tzedakah? Ze machzik biyad Yisrael shmecha. The noisein loy matana. Oy halva. Oy oisa imay. Excuse me. Ze hamachzik biyad Yisrael shemach. He's mach, he's poor. That's poor. You give him a gift or a loan. Or you partnership with him. You find him a job. Actually, that he won't have to come on to people. In other words, go ahead and set him up until he won't need you anymore. So this is the highest madrega, where you make him self-sufficient, where he won't be in the status of an anymore. He won't have to come on to you. Pachas mizeh is anaisin tzedakah aniyim, v'layada l'mi nasan, v'layada ani mi milakach. You give money to an ani, he doesn't know where it came from, and he doesn't know you don't know who you gave it to, and he doesn't know where it came from. Shezu mitzvah l'shma, that's a mitzvah l'shma. Kigain. Lishkas chashoyim shlois of Migdash. There was a lishka of whispers, quietness in the base of Migdash. Shoyat tzadikim noisnabah b'chashoy. Tzadikim would go in there and give their money clandestinely, and no one would know who they are. V'aniyim b'nei toivim is parnasim imenu b'chashoy, and the aniyim they would go ahead and they would go be misparnis in a quiet manner. So he gave quietly. You don't know who he was, and they took. The carv lezeh is a nice in the kupa shel tzedakah. Close to this is giving it in kupa shel tzedakah. Layitin adlam b'tayv kupa shel tzedakah elam kain yadeya shehamamuna neman v'chacham. Remember we saw the places, guys. Chananya ben Shradyan, right? That it's not like a tzaddik like him, but he's a neman and a chacham. The yadeya lahani kishur. He knows to act in the right way. Rabbi Chananya ben Shradyan, like Rabbi Chananya ben Shradyan, Pachas. Okay, then it goes on. So you get the idea. The idea is that This tzedakah is a tremendous, tremendous mitzvah. I think after going through the sugya, again, I'd love for all of us to elevate ourselves to the extent that just don't do it. Appreciate what you are doing. And when the guy comes from Israel and he comes around and he gives you in the middle of davening, he puts down that sheet in front of you that stirs you davening. Don't be angry. Just say that Baruch Hashem, I'm not in that position. Baruch Hashem, I don't have to come on to people. I train myself there all the time. The Milsh Shmona Esrei, Dr. Pest, they come around with this setluch that in their state, and they put it right down in front of you, and my davening doesn't count for anything. And the answer is that put yourself in these people's position, and Baruch Hashem, you're not in these people's position. And you should no matter what you give them, give it with a save upon your voice, and it's worthy. It's an everyday occurrence in Brooklyn for sure, in Lakewood, all over. It's an everyday occurrence. Aniyim common, and and you get tired of it. Like anything else, you get tired of it. So we should do our best to give tzedakah. Whatever you give, give it b'seiv upon yafais in a very nice way. And as it goes on and happens more often, just remember the sugi in Baba Basra that we went through. And with the Rambam, it's again, and particularly the Chafetz Chaim. If you can be mechazik a person with words, you see a person that's downtrodden, you ask him what's wrong. Sometimes a person just wants to talk out his heart, even though you can't help him. Just talking about it, he feels a little better, gets a catharsis of getting it out. I think it's a very, very important thing. Okay, so because we basically finished the sugi of tzedakah this evening, and we're going on to, we're basically finished. We're almost not finished, but we're going to be getting back to our regular scheduled program sooner than later. So I'm delaying it as much as possible, as you notice. Anyway.
When people come collecting, if I ask what it's for, if they say my son's getting married, whatever, I say Mazel Tov. You give them a bracha, right. And they appreciate it.
1,000%. Anything, any words you can give them, they're used to getting not such nice words. It's very, very hard. It's very hard. It's not okay. It says the Gemara. If for Hermes, we're up to Yud Amid Beis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if for Hermes, we said was the mother of Shava Malka. We spoke out her name in Taisus. You might remember that she was beautiful, like from the demons, beautified. Ima the Shava Malka, Shadra Arba Meyadinu Lekamei de Rav Ami. She sent 400 dinar in front of Rav Ami. And Rabbi Ami, he did not go ahead and accept it. Then what did he do? Then she the Gimel. Shavrisinu Kamei de Rava, she then sent in front of Rava the Kablinu, and Rava accepted it. Mishum Shalom Malchus, because Shalom of the Malchus. Shoma Rabbi Ami heard what Rava did, and Ikbid, he was Makbid. Amma. And he quoted a pasuk that basically says you should not try to give the goyim schusim. So the pasuk is Leslie bivoish kitsira tisha barna v'noshim bois meiros oisa. So when the bows are dried up, they'll be broken, and women will come and put them on fire. The pasuk seems to say, if you look at Rashi, when the schus of the goyim is complete, the yavesh lachluches, right, ma'aset tzedakah shalahem, and it dries up the moisture of the ma'aset tzedakah, us yishbu, then they'll be broken. So this is pasuk in Yeshaya, again, as difficult as Navi is to translate and understand, is telling us if the goyim lose their schusim, then it'll be easier to go ahead and finally be in first place. But if you, Rava, are going to accept tzedakah from Ifra Hermes, who was a goyita, and she's going to have the schus of giving tzedakah to Jews, so you're just extending the problem. So therefore, Rav Ami did not accept it for this pasuk, where Rava did because of Shalom Malchus. Guys, okay, it's good. Now continues the Gemara. Rabbi Ami Nami Mishum Shalom Malchus, right? He says, good, you should accept it from Shalom Malchus. Nonetheless, the he felt that Rava should have gone ahead and given it to Goyim, and therefore you wouldn't have the schus of tzedakah. So Shalom Malchus, you had to accept the money. So once you accepted the money, do not distribute to Jews who are impoverished, but to Goyim. Rabbi did go ahead and give it to Goyim. However, Ravami the Ikbid Amid Aleph Hudlois Samuya Kameh. In other words, he hadn't heard the following story. He hadn't heard the end, and therefore, since he hadn't heard the end, he was upset. Yes, Hashi.
Wasn't Rava the same one he told the people to give for Bnei Mechuzah? We earlier learned the Bnei Mechuzah were rich people, also for Shalom Malchus. We learned that earlier, didn't we? Wasn't that Rava?
Yeah, Rava was the Rava in
So it's consistent with this Gemara, Rava's actions.
Yes. Amru Allah about Binyamin at Tzaddik. They say about person Binyamin at Tzaddik. This is not Binyamin, the son of Yaakov. This is Binyamin at Tzaddik. Shahai Memuna al Kupa Shel Tzedakah. He was appointed on the Kupa of Tzedakah. Pamachas Basa Isha Lefana of Bishani Betzuros. A woman came in front of him in the years of famine. But and Amrullah Rebbe Parnaseni said to Rebbe, "Go ahead and be mefarnas me. Please, I need money." So Amaloi Ha'avoida, the lashon of Shvua, we've had it many times. The swear in the Beis Hamikdash Ha'avoida. She'im b'kupa shel tzedakah klum. I don't have anything. So Amaloi Rebbe, and Eina Tom Mefarnaseni, Hari Isha v'Shiva Baneha Mason. I and my 7 children will die. So the Marsha says that initially he didn't realize she was in such a state. When he said there wasn't enough, he didn't realize it was pikuach nefesh. So Amad u'mefarnes mishaloi. He went ahead and there was no money in the Kupa Shel Tzedakah, but he himself, from his own personal funds, gave this woman to survive. Liyamim, after a while, Chala Binyamin Tzaddik took sick, but not the lamas, and he was holding by death. Amru Malach Yashar Snei Hakadosh Baruch Hu Rebbeinu Shleilam. Ata Amra Kol Mekayim Nefesh Achas Mi Yisrael. Anyone who goes ahead and keeps a Nefesh Yisrael alive, Kila Kayim Olam Malei. It's like you could fill the whole world. Halalu, he should die in such a short period of time. Miyad Karolei Gezardina, his Gezardin was ripped up. And Tana Isifalei Esru Mushtayim Shana Al Shanaisa. He got 22 years on his life. Teres Chaim says 22 years is connected the Torah that he kept. 22 Isis in the Torah, fellas. 22 Isis in the not in the Torah, in the Aleph base. There's 22 Isis in the Aleph base. So he kept the 22, allowed the Torah to survive in this Binyamin Tzaddik 22 years. Okay, says Rashi, nice Rashi, guys. Ata Amarta, fourth line down. Ata Amarta, mitayras lamadnu, from your Torah we learned, Lefikach nivra Adam yichidi. Adam was created alone. Hashem created one person. He didn't create a populated world. He created one person. Lo melecha kol mekayim nefesh achas miyisrael. Anyone who goes ahead and sustains a one nefesh in Yisrael, kilkayim olam malay. You're going ahead fulfilling a whole world. One person is the whole world. When Adam was created, he was the whole world. So therefore, anyone who is mekayim one person, it's like mekayim a world. Uksiv, kol demei, when Cain killed Hevel, Hashem tells Cain, kol demei achicha, demei is lashon plural. The call of the bloods of your brother, damai, the dam is rayosa, his dam, the dam of his children. That's why the lashon demei. After shatam mekayim demei achicha, imach, malo alecha chayav, v'chayas rayosa. It's considered you came him alive and his children. Shemida toivim ruv mida pronius. So therefore, the beautiful Rashi to explain the taina of the Malach Yashar is the Kodesh Baruch Hu. You are Kodesh Baruch Hu created Adam alone to show that you're Kayin one person. Alachas Kama V'Kama. You yourself said, "Kol Demei Achicha." You told Kayin the bloods of the Jack generation, other generations, and this Shimon Tzaddik kept generations alive. And this is what happens to him. And therefore, what he was, and therefore he was saved. Okay. Tanrabanan, Munbiz Hamelech. Now Munbiz, was the son of Hilni Amalka, and it's a chilukei deis. Some Rashi says he was a Chashmonai king. Guys, we met the Chashmonai king at the beginning. Hordis killed out the last of the Chashmonaim, so he was part of that. Some people say he was a guy. You might remember him from Yuma. He gave things to the Beis Hamikdash. Munbiz, Hilni gave, and he gave. So this is Munbiz. So Ma'aseh Munbiz Hamelech shebis beis eitzroisa v'eitzros avoisa. He went ahead during tough times, and he went ahead and he gave away all the money from his treasuries and the treasuries of his forefathers. The Shani B'tzurais in the years of famine. The Chavru Olav Echav L'Beisachim, his brothers, the family got together. The Amrulai Aveisecha Gansu Vaisifa Al Shel Aveisav. Your fathers, they kept their money and they added on to the money of their fathers. The atom of Azvazom, and you're going ahead and deleting it. So Amalem said Mumbis, Avoisai Gonzu Lamata. My fathers, they kept the money here on earth. But you know what I did? By giving away tzedakah during these years, I went ahead and put it in Shemayim. Shnemar, Emes me Eretz Titzma, but Tzedek mishamayim nishkot. And Tzedek from Shemayim will be looked down upon. So you see that that is tzedakah he gave is considered in Shemayim. Avoisai gonzu b'makom sheyat sholet this boy. My forefathers, they kept it in this world where someone could steal it. But v'ani ganasti b'makom she'ein hayat sholet this boy. You can't take it away. Shnemar tzedek u'mishpat nechain kisecha. They had the foundation of Hashem's throne. So therefore, what? Can't take it back. It can be stolen. Avoisai gonzu dova she'ein oisa peris. Something that is, it's not collecting interest if it's in the oisa, right? It's not being lent out. It's no interest being. It's no peris being. But and v'ani ganasti dova she'oisa peris. So by giving tzedakah. Shenemar imut tzadik hitayv ki prima alayim yakelu. That's the tzaddik is good because the fruits of his labor, right? They'll eat the fruits of his labor. Avoisai gonzu oitzus mamin. He put away money. But he ganasti oitzus nefashos. But when I went ahead and I gave tzedakah, I made ahead and I saved people. I wasn't saving cash. I was saving people. Shenemar pri tzaddik eitz chayim v'lekech nefashos chacham. So you see, you're smart. You could look at chacham. Avoisai gonzu lacherim. They only did it for. They did it for other people. Right? Again, they're putting it away. They're not getting use of it. They can't take it with them. But me, by giving tzedakah, I did something to myself. Shnemar ulachoti et tzedakah. And finally, avoisai gonzu loylam hazeh, v'ani ganasi loylam haba. Shnemar v'holach lefanecha tzedkecha, chaver Hashem yaspecha. Your tzedakah will go in front of you, right? And the cover of Hashem will be a reward. So therefore, Munbis go ahead and gave him a good zog about giving tzedakah and not saving the money for who knows what. Okay, we spoke about people living in a city and being required to go ahead and build around the city. We said, how long do you have to be in the city? We said 12 months. Or if you buy a house right away. If you buy a house right away, then you consider it part of the city in order to go ahead and have to contribute to the wall of the city. Then kana ba beis dira harihu kan she'ir. Masnisan our Mishnah, the like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. It's not like Shimon Gamliel. The Tanya, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Aimer. In kana ba karka kolshu. Even if you buy a little piece of land in the city, not a house, harihu kan she'ir, you like to consider the people of the city, and you'd have to contribute to the building of the wall. Right? The Gemara, but Tanya, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Aimer. In kana sham karka haruya lebeis dira. Only if you kana there a place that's royal beis dira, like our Mishnah. Harihu kan she'ir. So one place it says that the Shimon Gamliel said it's a karka kol shehu, and the second one it says it has to be karka enough to put up a house. So the Gemara answers the stira trei tanoy gali with Rav Shimon Gamliel. We have two tanoyim saying go with two different opinions of Rav Shimon Gamliel, and that concludes the Gadata, and we begin back to the regularly scheduled program. Ishmak. Ein cholkin es a chatzir. Actually, arba amos to zev, arba amos to zev. Okay, before earlier, I spoke out when we began Basra. Right, there's two chatzir sheish b'din chaluka and chatzir shein b'din chaluka. The Mishnah, our Mishnah, we said Stein is speaking about a chatzir shein b'din chaluka. It doesn't have b'din chaluka. Now we get what are the dimensions? The dimensions of a field, or a house and a field, a chatzir and a field, and different things. How much does it have to be divided up? And for each one, after they have to own 4 amas, and we're going to see they actually have to own 8 amas. We're going to see 8 amas, 4 amas in front of their Pesach, the house for unloading the chamor, and an additional 4 amas to that. Until the sada, in the area you can plant 9 kavim, and it's 3,750 square amas. Betisha kavim uzeh. So in other words, you have to have, they have to be left with 307.50. But 1875. V'lo yasagina, achi by chatzi kav lezeh, the chatzi kav lezeh, or 208 and a third. Akiva oimet beis roiva, or 104th and a sixth. V'lo yasatraklin, v'lo yasamaroin. These are different rooms of a palace. A traklin like a hallway. V'lo yasashevich is a coop. V'lo yasatalis a beged. V'lo yasamerchatz a bathhouse. V'lo yasbeis abad a wine olive press. Space an irrigated field. In other words, after you divide it, you have to go ahead and be able to use it for its original purpose. You be able to use it. In other words, if I divide the wine press, I'd have to have two wine presses. If I divide the talus, it has to be that the person can use it as a talus, that each one. So this is the rule of thumb. Anyone who goes ahead and divides, and the name is still on the division, Cholken. Then you make the chalukah. Then lavin cholken. Emisai bisman she'ein shnei moitzim. Havosman shnei moitzim afilu pachas mikanyach loiku. Even if they both want, this seems to be an obvious thing. If they both want, of course they could divide. So the Gemara says that the only reason we did is for the next statement. We had this earlier, guys. The Kisvi HaKodesh, you had again. They were written in a scroll. They had scrolls. They didn't have a printing press. So they had a scroll of Tanakh. You should go ahead and divide it up. Because it's a bazillion to go ahead and cut it up. Okay, so you're focusing on the first din of the Mishnah, that the Chatzah Sheyesh Badin Chalukah, Arba Amis Lazeh, Arba Lazeh, but really we're going to see it's a little more than that. Amr Avasi, Amr Rabbi Yochanan, Arba Amis Sh'amru, Chutz Mishal, the Arba Amis that we said is just 1 second, fellas. Second. That's excluding the openings of the house. So in other words, aside from the opening of the house, you need to get 4 amas. Tanya Nami Hachi. In Cholkim is a chatzar, you don't divide up a chatzar. At sheyehei bo shmoina amas lazeh, u'shmoina amas lazeh, a total of 8 amas. Fred Gemara, banan tanan arba amas lazeh, arba amas lazeh, so how can you say 8? El shmamina kid Ravasi. It's 8 amas, 4 each one for the Pesach of the house, and an additional 4. Shmamina, it's a good raya. Those who had the same dialogue, but in the form of a contradiction. Tanan, in Cholkim is a chatzar. You need 4 amas for each one. 8. How do you reconcile the difference? That excludes what? Their psachim, it excludes the openings. A chatzar is divided up according to its openings. Rashi speaks out. Let's say you have 2 houses in a chatzar. One of the houses has 1 Pesach, and the other one has 2 Pesachim. So if a father dies and he divvies it up, the house that has 2 Pesachim will get 2/3 of the chutzner, and the one has one Pesach will get 1/3 of the chutzner. So the amount of space you get in the chutzner depends upon the openings of the house, according to Rav Huna. So you're getting 4 amas for one opening, 4 amas for the other opening. The other guy's getting 4 amas for his opening, and whatever's left in the chutzner, the guy with the 2 openings is getting 2/3, and the other one's getting 1/3. Okay. Rav Chisda Amar Noisna amas the whole Pesach for Pesach, Vashar Cholkim b'Shava. Rav Chisda says no, you're right. Each one will get a Pesach. This guy will get 8, and this guy will get 4, but the rest of the chutzner will be divided up evenly. We'll get 50% and 50%. Hani Kabasi Rav Chisda, that the division is. You don't divide it up according to the openings, but according to equal. Psachim shebachatza yesh lem 4 amas. Hayezel pesach echad, v'zel shnei psachim. Zeh sheyesh pesach echad, noitel 4 amas. Zeh sheyesh shnei psachim, noitel 8 amas. Okay. V'hashar cholkin b'shava. There's the writer of Chisda. Not like Rav Huna 2-1, but in fact what? If. Hayezel pesach roichev 8 amas, noitel 8 amas. Can they get a pesach? The 4 amas b'chatzah. The one who is has a width of 8 amas takes 8 amas In addition, he takes 4 amas in the chatzar. Fred Gemara, 4 amas b'chatzar. Why is he getting? The Havamina is, guys, he's getting 4 amas in addition in the chatzar, in addition to the 8. So Rabbi Hachi Kamar, Noitel Shmoina amas ba'oirech, 8 amas in length, hachatzar, va'arba amas b'roicha hachatzar. So he's not getting. It's not getting A, you're getting the Pesach, and B, you're getting the chatzar. What describing is here is the length and width of the Pesach. If he has 2 psachim, he's going to get 8 across, and the width is going to be 4, but not in addition like in the chatzar 4. Okay. Amra Meima, Hai Pira the Suflay. This is of Erevin fame. You might remember this. We've had this quite a few times. They would go ahead in the chatzar, they'd put a ditch, and in the ditch they would throw in there the pits of the dates, and they would use it for animals. Animals would eat it. It would be a fodder for animals. So now, this period of sufli, yeshla arba amas l'chol ruach v'ruach. They would keep an area around it of 4 amas. Rashi, mishi yeshla chafiras b'chatzar, someone who has a ditch in his chatzar. They put date pits. He has 4 amas around the whole. Again, he's going to be putting pits in all the time. He has 4 amas around the whole excavation. And we say this only if they didn't have a Pesach. They didn't have a particular Pesach to this pit. If they did miyachad a Pesach, ein le'ela 4 amas l'fnei pischa. You only get 4 amas in front of the Pesach. Rav Huna says Rav Huna achsadra. Now achsadra usually is I touch a portico from again from Erevin. It's like a shady area, but it doesn't have any walls. It doesn't have any walls. So what's the reason, fellas, for 4 amas in front of the Pesach? This is the unloading zone. You can't take your animal into the house, your chamor into the house, because the house was full of kalim. So it wasn't an open area. So what would you do? You'd bring the chamor, it's like your garage, like your driveway. You'd bring the chamor up to the 4 amas of the opening of the house, and you'd unload there. Now the achsadra, since no one keeps their kalim in there, you would not get 4 amas for the achsadra because you could walk the animal into the achsadra. There's no reason not to. So since I can walk and unload the animal in the achsadra, there's no need to give me 4 amas in front of the achsadra. So I'm Rav Huna, achsadra, ein l'dalet amas. Taimamai, what's the reason for 4 amas by the Pesach? Mishum piruk masoy. It's unloading the load. Hacha, over here by the achsadra, efshe da'ay legavei. It's possible for you to go into the achsadra itself. Umefarek, and unload. Maser Rav Sheshes, echad shari bottom, whether it's the gates of a house. The echad shari achsadrois, or the gates of the achshoy, the openings of the achsadrois, yesh lem dalet amis. So you see in achsadra, you do get dalet amis. And for the Gemara, ki tanya hahi, when did we learn that? The achsadra de beirav. It's speaking about the achsadra de beirav. Rashi speaks out, guys. Rav had achsadra with walls, and each of the walls had windows. It had windows. So it was like an achsadra that was very light and airy. However, you couldn't walk in. Since you couldn't walk in, because there are walls there, you needed 4 amas by the opening, because the Rav would go ahead and store things in there. So the Gemara says right away, so if speaking about Achsadjat Bei Rav, Pshita, Adruna Ma'al Yehu, it's mamish like a great room in a house. It's like in Eretz Yisrael, you ever see the porches, they go ahead and close off the porches, right? They make it a room. So L'chaira, what are you talking about? That it's pashut, you get dalet amis. There's no way you're going to bring an animal in there. Ella, what are we speaking about? Achsadra Romaisa. We're speaking about our Roman Achsadra. The Roman Achsadra had lower walls. So it wasn't a complete wall, it was a lower wall. It didn't reach the ceiling. In that case, you can get 4 amas in front of it because the animal cannot walk in, and therefore they would keep kalim there. Tarabanan. Beis Shar Achsadra Umer Peset, Yesh Lahem Dalet Amas. A Beis Shar, we said that's the gate leading into the Chatzar, with a little house. Achsadra. Umer Peset, you have to say it's speaking in Achsadra like Rav or a Rav or a Maya, a Roman Achsadra. Umer Peset, a porch. Yesh Dalet Amas. Now, a Mepeset would be what we call a Mepeset in biblical times. It would be on an attic, an upper deck with a with a ladder coming down, and you'd get 4 amas in front of the ladder, because that's where they would unload. They can't bring the animal up into the upper deck. You can't walk up a ladder. So you'd have a ladder going up. So that's called the merpeset. And therefore, if you get 4 amas, you're going to unload over there. If you had 5 houses opening to the merpeset, they only get 4 amas, because again, they all have to go up the same ladder, guys. Picture a house. You know what? You ever see those cheap motels? They have going across the top, like room after room, and there's like a iron gate in front, and you have to walk along the length of it. You know what I'm talking about? Well, obviously, if you don't, you only stay by the better places. But this is the cheap places. You go across, and then you go down. So you over there, you go ahead, leave the light on, right? But Motel 6, leave the motel. Motel 6. So Chamisha Patim B'suchim, you only get Dalan Amis by the ladder. Boy min Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yanai. Lulusha Tarnagoylam. Guy owns a chicken coop. Yesh le Dalan Amis, ain't le Dalan Amis. Do you get Dalan Amis in front of the chicken coop or not? Amalei Taima Mai Mishum Piruk Masoi. The reason you get Dalan Amis is because unloading loads. Here Hachem Metapis Vayla Metapis V'Yorid. The chickens don't need 4 amas. They jump up and down. They go in off the roof. It doesn't make, you don't need it. Boy min Rav and Rav Nachman. Bayis Chetzi of Mekura, the Chetzi of Eina Mekura. Okay, so I have a house. Here's a house, guys. Now look. The view the tissue box as a area that's covered up, and view the underneath the Gemara as an open area. So it's like this. So there is basically here. You have this and you have this. So this is covered and this is not. So you could, all intents and purposes, you can walk in over here and unload, because I'm not going to keep kalim in here. Why? Because there's no roof. The Gemara is going to say, even if it's this way, guys, even if this is roofed and this is not, says the Meiri, since this area, the Gemara, is subject to the elements, no one's going to keep anything in there either. And therefore, you would need Dalan Amis, because a person can unload over here, because there won't be any kalim there. So either way, if half of the area is sealed off with a roof, and the other not, you don't get Dalan Amis, because you'll be able to bring your animal into even the sealed off area, because no one's going to keep anything there because of the unsealed area that's behind it. Says the Gemara. With that little foreshadow. Boy mine Rav Nachman. Bayis Chetzi of Mekaira, half has a ceiling. The Chetzi of Eina Mekaira, and half doesn't. Yesh le Dalan Amis, ain't le Dalan Amis. Amalei, ain't le Dalan Amis. Loimi boy kiruv miligayv. Don't tell me that that the wall, the seal is in the inside. The efsha, the ayel legave umafarek, that it's possible to go in and unload. Again, this is, guys, where this is here and this is here, right? So of course you can go in here and unload. The chiddush is even this way, you'll be able to do it, says the Gemara. Even if the wall is towards the outside, you're able to go in and mafare, because no one, the Mimi says, no one is going to keep any kalim underneath the sealed area, the ceiling, because of the unsealed that the elements is going to go ahead and bring it. Boy mini Rav Huna, may Rav Ami take away the yud. It seems Tosfos says that Rav Ami was older than Rav Huna. Rabbi Ami was not a contemporary. So Rav Huna would not be asking Rabbi Ami, but he would be asking Rav Ami. Okay, I didn't go ahead and take a picture of this. I should have maybe. This guy, what he wants to do is I just have it. I have trouble with my arm. He's using this side. He wants to go ahead. There's 2 alleyways. So his is in one alleyway. He wants to break through and go the other alleyway. He wants to go down the other alleyway. Okay? Picture 2 alleyways. So he wants to break through a back wall and go down the other alleyway. It says the Gemara. In this situation, he can't do it. This situation, he can't do it. Boy minei Rav Huna me Rav Ami. Echa b'bnei mavoi shebikesh lahachse pischai lemavei acher. He wants to go ahead and return his Pesach to the other mavoi. B'nei mavoi ma'akvan alav. The people from the other mavoi, they can stop him. Says the Rashba, they don't want more people going through their mavoi. In other words, if you have 5 doors, 5 chetzerim going into a mavoi, it's different than if you have 6 or 7. So we want to diminish the traffic. So therefore they can stop him. Or not, maybe. Again, he has rights, he has a chutzner, so he has rights to go there. So Rav Ami told Rav Huna they can be ma'akiv. They can be ma'akiv. Achsanya lefi b'nei adam mischalekes, or lefi pescha mischalekes. So this is just asking. He was asking him shilas. Achsanya is the king's troops. They're coming, and you have to put them up. Do you put them up based upon the amount of apartments in the house or amount of pesachim? Amalei lefi b'nei adam mischalekes, according to the amount of apartments. Hanya nami hachi zevel shebechatzer mischalekes li pesachim. They put zevel in the chutzner. People walk there and smash it up. So the one who had more doorways would get more zevel, more fertilizer. And achsanya b'nei adam, and achsanya is divided up according to the apartments. I'm touching it as apartments as opposed to people. Amrav Huna, echem b'nei mavoi shebikesh listoim keneged pischai, b'nei mavi ma'akvan olav. Okay, here's the next picture. This guy wants to put up a kaisel. He wants to put up a partition next to his 4 amas. So you see there's a bunch of people there, right? Go in and out. So let's view it, guys, as a hierarchy. Starting from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 enters into the Rosh Hashanah. Okay? So number 2 wants to put up a wall. Or even he wants to put up a wall. They all can stop him because it's going to stop the people who have to go around. If they go this way, they won't be able to go out. They're going to have to go around. So again, it's important to get the numbers, guys. Picture a mavui, an alleyway, and there are chetzerim entering this 5. 1 is at the top, it's closed off, and number 5 is entering into the Rosh Hashanah. So that's your picture. Chamesh chetzeros psuchas lemavui meisive. We're going to ask a kasha one more time. Amar Rav Huna, echem b'nei mavoi shebikesh listoim keneged pischai, b'nei mavi ma'akvan olav. It's mashma, anyone could be ma'akiv. In other words, if one wants to put up a mavoi, a wall opposite his Pesach, number 5 can stop him. So you hear this, guys. Number 1 is over here, number 5 is over here. For all intents and purposes, number 5 never has to go to number 1 because he's emptying right out to the Rosh Hashanah, right? He's walking out this way. Nonetheless, Rav Huna says any one of the people who puts up, anyone in the Mavi can stop them. Anyone in the Mavi can stop him. I'm going to ask on that. Meisivei. Chamesh chatzeros psuches lemavoi, kula mishtamashes imachachitzaina. Everyone, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're mishamish with 5 because they have to walk out, so they have to use 5. Vachitzaina mishtamesh la'atzma, and number 5 can only use the area by 5 because he has no reason to go to 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's your kasha, fellas. There's your kasha Rav Huna. Right away you have a kasha. You see that number 5 can only use number 5. Yeah, Rav Huna's mashma 5. If 1 puts it up, 5 can go ahead and say something to him, right? And the other one can be mishtamish with number 4. And number 4 can be mishtamish with number 4, and with number 5. So 1, 2, and 3 can be mishtamish with 4, and 4 can be mishtamish with 4 and 5. Nimsa penimius, number 1. Mishtameshes la'atzma, it can use its area. Mishtameshes and kol achad v'achas, and it can use 2 through 5. So l'chayra, you have a kasha. Rav Huna, why did you say Rav Huna? You said no matter who puts it up, any person in the mavoi, 5 can go ahead and complain on 1 even, right? So says Gemara Tanohi, it's machlokes Tanoyim. The Tanya, echa b'nei mavoi shebikesh lahachse pischoi l'mavoi acher. This was the case of breaking out the back wall to go ahead and create a new Pesach into a adjoining mavoi. B'nei mavoi ma'akvan olav. The b'nei mavoi in the other area, they can stop him. Hayasasam, if what it was closed up, ubikesh lepaischa, he wants to open up. Ein b'nei mavoi ma'akvan olav. Okay, so this is meaning if there had been an existing door there before, and it was closed up, and now he wants to open it up, then he can open it up to the Rebbe. Those are the words of Rebbe. So guys, that then, if you're making a door, a hole to the new mavoi, is only not permitted is if you're creating the door. But if there was a door there and it was closed up, and now you're reopening it, then you're going back to what? Your original state. So there's a difference between making a new one or reopening a previous one that had been closed. Reopening a previous one that had been closed, you would be able to do. Making a new one, you would not be able to do. Now, Reb Shimon Elazar says, now we're discussing going into a mavoi. They all can use the mavoi. This is Rav Huna's din. Says we were talking about what? About a mavoi, and now you're bringing in a chatzer. Says you're missing words. All can go ahead and use the outside. 1, 2, 3, and 4 can use 5. Can only use 5. Clearly, that Tana disagrees with Rav Huna. That was the brisa we brought to to question Rav Huna. However, Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Chamesh Chatzeres Hapsuchas L'Mavoi. If you have 1, 2, 3, and 5, if Chatzer open to the Mavoi, Kulam Mishtamshus B'Mavoi. They all have rights in the Mavoi, so 5 has a right to 1, and therefore Rav Huna said his din according to who? Reb Shimon ben Elazar. He said his din according to Reb Shimon ben Elazar.